I just want to encourage you out there to just literally take it day by day. That's what I'm doing. I know that I am in the realm of what I'm good at, right? I know that I am creating content because I love it. I know that I want to inspire others to also be creative and tap into their own creation because I think everyone's a creative. That's my belief. I truly believe that. I'm trying to lean into my playful nature and trying not to be hard on myself because I'm a 32-year-old who enjoys playing video games and posting weird dance videos and stuff and whatever. Like, I just play a lot. I'm trying not to be judgmental about that either. So I hope that you just embrace your uniqueness and your weirdness. Hello. Welcome to another episode of the Danna Gift Show. I really wanted to share with you the thoughts that go on in my mind because I do feel like I have a lot that's on my mind, but I don't typically share it because I'm struggling to find my voice and how I want to present myself to the world. And I know sometimes you can look at my content and it might seem she's got it figured out. She does this comedy thing and she does all this stuff, which I actually find fascinating because I look at my own stuff and I'm like, how do you guys, I can't even keep up with me. So how do you even keep up with me? And I just struggle because I feel like I'm just an explorer. And so I explore a lot of different ideas and concepts and thoughts. But then because I explore so much, I suffer from feeling like I am not a master of any. God, there's so many things that are just running through my mind right now. I'm suffering from imposter syndrome. I'm dealing with feeling like what I'm doing isn't enough. I feel a lot of days where I'm creating and I want to see a specific result, but I'm not seeing any of the results. And I just feel like I'm stuck. I feel very stuck. And I've been in this place for some time now. If you guys have been following me, then, and you go back to my old videos, I talk a lot about being lost and feeling like I lack clarity and all of this, but also it's not just lack of clarity. I really think it's actually a self-worth issue because what I'm doing hasn't produced the results that I want to see from it, aka financial gain or notoriety or something other than just me making videos. Because I haven't seen that, I feel like I have to constantly pivot. And I don't know if I'm speaking to anyone out there, but this is exactly what the beginning of an entrepreneurship journey feels like. We are constantly just opening doors. And when we open a door that we think feels right and it feels like we're heading in the right direction, it feels good inside, and we go down that path, but then a month, 2 months, 3 months of staying on this path, you don't see any movement, any gain. You start to question if the decision you made was actually the right decision. Maybe it's really just about exploring that option and doing what feels good in your heart and praying for the result you want to see. Maybe there is no right direction at all because people change so much. God, I have changed so much. So much things in my life I thought that I was going to be doing at this point in my life, and I'm not doing any of it. It's actually wild. I look back and I'm like, I am 32 years old and I don't have the family that I thought I would have. I don't have the millions of dollars in my bank account like I thought I would have. I really thought that I was going to be working at the top of a CEO company, thinking that I was going to be top dog of a big Fortune 500 company, not run by me. I thought I was going to be working under someone. I never thought to myself that I'd want to be a freaking entrepreneur and doing this on my own. I always thought that I was going to find a 100K and above annual income job. And the more I continue down this journey, I'm starting to realize the different challenges that I seem to keep consistently coming across. And it seems to be self-worth, consistency, and faith. If I could sum it up to the top 3 things that I seem to struggle with, at least in this point in my life, it has to be those 3. Self-worth. I think self-worth is something that we all kind of struggle from time to time, depending on what we're doing, depending on where we're at in our lives, so many different variables that can affect that. But I think self-worth, at least for this space, choosing to be seen, not for anything in particular, except for maybe getting some laughs and people being inspired by your stories, is something that I struggle with a lot. I struggle with my self-worth because I know that I have an interesting story, a life story that I would love to share with people, and really for the hopes of reaching somebody who also has a fascinating story but is afraid to share. But I'm just hoping that somebody can relate and be inspired by it somehow. And see, even I can hear it in my freaking voice. The fact that I'm saying be inspired by it somehow, because I myself feel like I'm not worthy to inspire people. I think to myself, who's going to listen to you? Who's going to be inspired by you? What have you done? Because I'm tying my self-worth to how much money I make, how much success I make. But the truth is, we can inspire people through different actions. I can inspire people by still being a very positive person, even though life freaking handed me a lot of very shitty cards. And the fact that I'm able to still love with an open heart and still let people in and have not closed my heart off, that's inspiring. And yet I tell myself that it's not. I also deal with imposter syndrome. I'm like, who the fuck are you? Who are you to show up online and say you know all these things and all you did was read it in a book and you learned how to integrate it? But how else do people gain their knowledge? They read fucking books. And another thing that I seem to fight a lot with is this word. It just continues to cross my fucking mind, and it pisses me off because I've looked up the definition of narcissism, because one of my ex-best friends called me a narcissist because she's going through, whoever knows, I don't even know. I decided to close that door. But she said I was a narcissist because I wasn't able to detect when she was going through something tough because I was consumed with something in my own life, even though she never spoke up about it. And when she said it, and there's people online who are just absolute haters going on to my videos and commenting, this is such narcissistic behavior, blah, 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 because I shared about how to recognize red flags. I really need to take a step back from that, because when we are allowing other people to project onto us and we are letting those harmful words into our lives and we actually adopt it, we have to really pay attention to the people who are saying it. How well versed are they in actually knowing what that word means? How healed are they? Healed? I say healed like it's like there's an end, but there is no end to that. We're always needing something to be healed, something to work on. But how much work are they actually putting into themselves? There are so many less qualified people than you, and yet you want to be so perfect because you don't want to upset anybody. You don't want people to cast a misjudgment on you. You don't want people to think that you are looked at a certain way. You don't want to be seen as the bad guy, the villain, the person who says something stupid online. But I say this every time, and I guess I haven't really fucking adopted it. But who the fuck cares? Who really cares? These people who are casting such horrible names onto you to try to make sense of you, they just aren't your people. People are going to be upset with you no matter what. And the more you begin to put yourself out there, the more you choose to be seen, the more people are going to be upset about that, because you represent something in them that they either are triggered by or that they feel like they themselves can't accomplish. The people that support you are the people who see you for you. And the people who don't, they're just not on your level. They're not with you. They're honestly the sheep. So I'm a very free radical thinker. I question everything. I ask I ask questions for everything. I've always been a question asker, annoying at that, but I have very controversial ways of thinking. And of course, that's going to challenge people. Of course, the way I live my life is going to upset some people because I do the opposite a lot of what the normal is. When something is fearful for me, I lean into it. I might cry the entire way. I might be freaking out the entire way, but I will do it. I will lean into fear. And a lot of people don't do that. But it's such an interesting thing to navigate this self-worth thing. These are just literally my thoughts going freaking wild. They're just going crazy. Another thing that I said that I really struggle with is consistency. I lack a lot of consistency with what I'm doing. And then I complain about not getting the results that I want when I haven't been consistent to receive them. And so I think that's a question that we really need to ask ourselves. If we're shooting for something big and we're not putting in the work, how is it that we expect to see the results? And then obviously I go back and forth, right? Because I do feel like I'm putting in the work. I haven't been consistently posting online as much as I'd like to. So that's one area I absolutely would like to. But I do feel like I work a lot. But then I also really need to be honest. Am I being productive in the tasks that I do each day? Or am I filling my day with busy work? And another thing I struggle with sometimes is my faith. My faith. I feel God calling me. I feel it. I feel like that is the missing piece out of all of my puzzle, because this past year, I've learned a lot of lessons. I was broke at the beginning of this year, sold my house, was able to get enough funding for some nicer things. I'm actually going to go see my family at the end of this year, which is fucking nice because I haven't seen my parents in about 3 years now. And before that, it was 10. But yeah, faith, my spirituality, that's important to me. And yet I'm not treating it like it's important. I used to, especially when I was going through that really tough financial time at the beginning of this year, I used to practice my spirituality a lot in the morning. And now, because things are not as troublesome, I have a good amount saved, I'm not doing it. But why? That is what got me here, was my faith and God and following through with my spirituality. And yet when I get there, I stop doing the things that got me here. That doesn't make any sense. So it's something else I need to work on. And the whole thing about trying to figure out my clarity, who I am, what I'm doing on this world, that's a tough one. And I wish I had a recipe for everyone out there. I wish I had a way to tell you, follow XYZ, the steps, so that you can figure out what your purpose is here on earth. Maybe there's no singular purpose why we're here. For me, I feel like the reason why I do what I do is because I love making people laugh. I love making people smile. I like spreading love and positivity, and I want people to get back to loving each other. That's what my dream is. And I also know that the steps to get there require a lot of self-love. So I want to teach people how to love themselves again, to accept all the fucking weird shit that we think of every day. I cuss a lot. I really do cuss a lot. My mom is just constantly telling me every time I cuss now, she's anak, which means my child in the Philippines in Tagalog. But I think what it is, I scroll through Instagram, I scroll through TikTok, and I look at all of these samples of things that I admire and want to be like. And yes, although that is a good way to hone in on your craft and understand how you want to create art in this world, it cannot be the main source of your inspiration. Looking at other people's stuff and pulling the same shit that they're doing, that cannot be it, because that is not you. There is something very unique about each and every one of us. And I think where we learn that is through discovery and exploration. So trying out new things, not being afraid to fail, not being afraid to get embarrassed, and making tweaks and iterations, and also knowing that it's okay to pivot. It is okay to pivot. And I feel like what I'm saying is going to have a lot more impact when everything comes into fruition and I become whatever. I'm just going to say I want to be a huge YouTuber. I want a big personality on the entertainment space. That's what I want. I've always felt that. I've always felt like that's what I wanted in life. And I used to feel very guilty for wanting that, because I'm like, okay, now everybody said, like what my old friend called me a narcissist, now that makes it true. But I don't think it's a bad thing to live a very positive life and love others and want to teach others to love each other and themselves. And I don't think that's a bad thing to want people to look at that and admire that and want that for themselves. Because to me, that's spreading light and love. And so I just need to stick with what feels good in my heart. Like, what gets me excited? What gets you excited? I think we need to stop shaming the things that make us happy, the things that are going to spread love. If you playing video games online makes you fucking happy, then do it. And you're spreading light and love because you're spreading your light and love. I just think we're so hard on ourselves. Like everything has to be perfect. Even I look at all of my posts on Instagram and like, I can't even remember the last time I was just sharing stories about myself because I just want to make funny videos that teach a lesson and all of this stuff. But I'm really starting to realize that I actually don't like sharing about myself because I don't want to be seen as this narcissistic person. I feel like when I talk about myself, I don't get to hear everybody else. But I have such an interesting story, and for me not to share feels like I'm throwing away that beautiful past, that wild past, Wild West. Lots of stories. And so I think what I'm trying to get with this entire podcast really is to be your fucking self, to be yourself. Be you. Stop looking at everybody else's stuff. Stop comparing yourself to everybody else's story, their timeline, everything, because everyone is just going to be so unique and so different. And your path is yours. It's for you to find out, for you to take. No one else can. And so for us to look at other people and try and copy word for word, bit by bit, how they're living their lives so that we can achieve the things that they have, doesn't make any sense. So for those of you struggling with self-worth and consistency and faith, I just want you to know that you're not alone. I am just starting on my path of feeling like I have an idea of the things that I want to create. I finally stopped being lazy and started producing the things that I want to create, which is comedy and personal development. Weird combination, but that's what comedy is. It's bringing light to the truth of what we're actually thinking. And personal development is something that I have absolutely fucking learned this last year because I needed to. Either that or I was going to be gone from this world. If I'm being super honest, I was suicidal. I just want to encourage you out there to just literally take it day by day. That's what I'm doing. I know that I am in the realm of what I'm good at, right? I know that I am creating content because I love it. I know that I want to inspire others to also be creative and tap into their own creation because I think everyone's a creative. That's my belief. I truly believe that. I'm trying to lean into my playful nature and trying not to be hard on myself because I'm a 32-year-old who enjoys playing video games and posting weird dance videos and stuff and whatever. Like I just play a lot. I'm trying not to be judgmental about that either. So I hope that you just embrace your uniqueness and your weirdness. And see, even now I'm questioning, I'm like, am I even qualified to be sharing this with people and whatever? What the fuck ever. We just got to do it. My heart feels right when I am recording. My heart feels right when I'm making videos. And so I'm just going to have to lean into that and be consistent with it. Prove to myself time and time again that this is my expertise by showing up every day and also leaning into God. And all those three things that I feel insecure about, all those three things that I've been struggling with will hopefully be covered up by sheer persistence, leaning into God and just being consistent and learning how to love myself because I am a beautiful freaking mess. And that's just who I am. I'll never be perfect. What I say now may not be what I believe in a couple of years, and that's okay. It's part of life as we change, we develop, we grow, and we figure it out step by step. I'm proud of myself for doing this. Because today I woke up and every time I tried to think about something deeper, I would get so in my head and start getting the freaking critic in me would just be screaming. And I chose to sit and play Hogwarts, some video games, so I can release my mind. But if I'm being honest, I would have been really upset with myself if I didn't do anything with my day except play video games today because I have bigger dreams. And if I don't do stuff towards that dream, it's never going to come true. And I can't just keep hiding. by distracting myself with activities that, yes, they make me feel good at the time, but I also have to find the balance between what feels good and what needs to be done if I want to accomplish those things. So I'm proud of myself because I, for the longest time, have been afraid to be seen, truly seen. I have always been afraid to tell my story. And unless somebody asked me, I would never share. But I'm going to share. I'm going to take the stance today and choose to share. There's no way I was given the life that I was given if I wasn't supposed to share it. I have so many stories about getting bullied, going through a divorce that didn't end in anything absolutely horrible except for the fact that we just couldn't figure out how to love each other. Going from an extremely masculine female into a softer female who's still the provider, by the way, financially, but still soft with my boyfriend. And how the fuck do you figure out that recipe? That's a story. I have stories of being a flight attendant and those days when I used to bikini compete while I was a flight attendant. There's so much crap that I have experienced in this life and I need to share it. I need to share it because someone else probably will benefit from hearing the story. And I'm saying all of this because I want you, if you're listening, if you've made it through this podcast somehow, you need to share your story. Don't be afraid to be seen. You're a beautiful soul. And be forgiving of yourself. In the next couple of years, if you look back at your stuff and you're like, oh my God, that was such a cringy thing that I did, cool. Because you probably have grown from it. And that is physical example of your growth. That is my rant for today. And I hope you have a wonderful week. And I'll see you on the next episode of the Danna Gift Show. Bye.